सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांतिः। ओम भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः स्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ओम शांति शांति शांतिः। ओके, could you please put on your videos? Some of the videos are not on. Still two of them. What is the name written here? One is RP, another is two videos are still not on. May I request them? Okay. So we were discussing last time how when the doership, the sense of doership is diluted, the karma doesn't affect that person. And we discussed the examples from this modern day world, historical examples and day-to-day life. And then we were stuck in one question. Okay, a diluted sense of doership reduces the effect of karma. So what? What do I gain out of it? So we have to understand a few concepts today. There are two terms in Sanskrit. One is karta, the doer, and another is bhokta, the enjoyer. Enjoyer includes the one who experiences both pleasure and pain, not just pleasure. So, karta and bhokta, the doer and the enjoyer. Now the thing is, the sense of doership and the sense of enjoyership, they go hand in hand. So if the sense of doership is very intense, strong, the sense of enjoyership will also be proportionately very intense and strong. And when the sense of enjoyership is intense or strong, of course, the person will feel the pleasure with that intensity. But again, the person will also feel the pain with equally high intensity. And pleasure and pain are part of our experiences in our daily life. You can't avoid them. So if you are in for intense pleasure, you have to be prepared for even intense pain. Intense pleasure may be paralyzing at I mean, in few cases. But intense pain definitely paralyzes in most of the cases. And that is where we were discussing. Because last time, I think, what is her name? She was saying, the doership goes away, then one is free from the cycle of birth and death, right? You said that. Amma, can you hear me? Hello?
I can hear you.
Yeah. So you said that. Now, this cycle of birth and death, you see, I had discussed earlier too, even though we believe in a previous birth and the next birth and all, but we don't give much heart to it. And especially when the person is young, the person doesn't even think he or she will die someday. So death and all are all abstract things. They want to know about life, the present life. And so last time we were discussing, okay, so this concept of uh, mm, diluting the doership or a diluted doership, it definitely reduces the impact of karma and tries to bring out a person from the cycle of birth and death. So that is applicable for people, say, above 60 or between 40 and 60 or whatever. But what about people who are below 40? So how does this diluted sense of doership help them? And that is what we are discussing today. A diluted sense of doership brings an evenness of mind, because pleasure and pain are part of life. They will come, you can't avoid them. But if you can't do much about its intensity and you allow the intensity to be very high, then be prepared to get paralyzed in life, getting stuck, getting depressed, or immobile, not able to do things, not able to handle things. So definitely a diluted sense of doership, kartapan, and a diluted sense of enjoyership keeps a person in an even state of mind in both pleasure and pain, and sort of insulates the person from the effects of pleasure and pain, intense pleasure and pain, because intense pleasure and pain doesn't affect that person as much as it would affect some other person. And that is what is uh, discussed in this chapter, the fourth chapter. And if the sense of doership is gone in what sense? We have to understand this. There is one word in Sanskrit. So we have so far seen two words, karta, bhokta, the doer, the enjoyer. Okay. I am introducing another term, and what we call that term as badhita. Now, what does badhita means? Badhita means, I'll explain this in more words. My sense of doership, when it is falsified in my own eyes, then I can say, then it is called, my doership is badhita. How does it happen? For example, I am playing a role of a beggar in a drama. While performing the role of a beggar, that role is falsified in my eyes. It's a false thing. It's not my real nature. I have taken up the role, but in reality, I know I'm not a beggar. Correct? So the sense of beggarliness is falsified in my eyes, and that beggarliness is badhita in my own eyes. Okay? It's no more real, but I'm just acting it out, playing out the role because it is required. The reality is something else. Similarly, when my doership is falsified in my own eyes, I know my doership is not real. It is, I'm just playing a role as a doer and as an enjoyer. And because of the circumstances. But really speaking, it's the system, it's the laws which are doing it. I'm just part of it. So my doership and enjoyership becomes badhita. And once it becomes badhita, I am no more affected by the effects of those karma. The karma phala do not accrue to me. Why? Because in any way they were not real. The role was not real. So the effect of the role is also not real. So when I am a beggar in a drama and somebody donates me money, the donation is false. My asking money as a beggar in that role is also false. It's not real. And the whole game is played, and I remain unaffected. I remove my cosmetics, change my clothes, and I'm a different person. So this is where the concept of badhita karta bhokta or even badhita ahankara. Badhita ahankara means the I sense, the falsified I sense. Okay, falsified in whose eyes? In my own eyes. Others may be able to see it, may not be able to see it. That's a different thing. But definitely I am able to see it. It is falsified in my own eyes because I know what the role which I am playing is not my true nature. And that protects me from the effects of karma. And when the effects of karma, I'm protected because I am not a doer. So even the pleasure and pain coming out of as a consequence, direct or indirect consequence of that karma, also do not affect me. So this is the whole game which is being discussed. Now, in the fourth chapter, now any questions on this or anything which I couldn't explain or make it clear, please, before we proceed, because this is important and some new concepts have been brought up. Yes, yes, please. Hello.
Acharya ji, actually, I had one thing. So this Padita,
Yeah.
does it also, it seems like it's something like when you get realized, right? Like when you understand the whole truth, like then also you're free from karma.
Yeah.
Is it the same thing or is it like something different?
Yeah, it's the same.
Okay.
Badhita is that thing only.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. But again, let us not idealize the whole thing and make our goalpost so far away that we get disheartened that whether we will ever reach it. So let us make it easy. Even small badhita can be applied in my daily life. As a mother of a young child, we all have many badhita roles. Mother sometimes, at least it happens in India again, as I because I know you have 911, we don't have. So mother shows anger because of some mischief of the child, okay? But inside she might be just giggling and just trying to hide the laughter. But outside she has to show that, to show her disapproval. She may even shout at the child. The whole role is badhita. It's a role which she is playing and very deliberately. Correct? So This is our day-to-day experience. Again, when we put realization, self-realization, then all the actions, everything becomes badhita and all. Let us not go up to that. Even a few actions of ours, where our doership becomes badhita, let us start from there. Even that will lighten my life. Correct? Why to wait for an end result which is very, very far off so that you lose your heart? Immediate there are results. Certain roles you play, you, for example, our Dr. Papneja, he's a live example. Like aim for seva, he's playing a role. And he has to take it seriously. He has to handle so many issues. And yet he knows it's just a role. Correct? And as we grow in life, we take up many roles. We have to play those roles. Even though we are not the beneficiary, it has nothing to do with us, really speaking. Even if we were not doing it, it hardly matters to us. Yet we continue to do. So we get a taste of that badhita example. The doership is badhita. The enjoyership is badhita. It's like in India, we have a concept, even in your country, it must be true. A caretaker prime minister, a caretaker president. But that example is limited because a caretaker prime minister may not be able to decide too many things. But think of something, a caretaker prime minister for life. So playing role. And another equivalent example is when we are a trustee of a trust. We don't own the trust, but we are a trustee, especially a charitable trust. So we don't own it, but then we play a role of owner. Even some of the temples in India, especially south of India, they are run by trusts. So the deity, the Lord, is the owner of the temple, and on behalf of that Lord, a person will represent that Lord in the court, in government offices everywhere, and will apply for all different papers. I mean, electricity connection, water connection, or if there is some court case or whatever, it is fought in the name of the Lord, knowing very well neither is the Lord, nor he has been given an appointment letter by the Lord, nor he will get anything in return, but playing the role. These are all examples of badhita ahankara. So you don't have to wait for that self-realization. In fact, you have to be partly realized before you're thinking of being completely realized. It is never like sudden. It's not a quantum jump. You are nowhere, nothing called badhita, and suddenly everything will become badhita in a flash of light. Those things don't happen. Things are in progression, gradual. So that attitude of that diluting the doership, understanding the whole secret of doership, how doership makes one participant in karma, and how a diluted doership or a badhita doership frees one from karma totally, even while doing it. And now, if this part is clear, then we will proceed into the shlokas, and then they will make sense. Otherwise, they will sound very mystical or even outdated. Because one of the shlokas is like that, Janma karma cha me divyam. So a bhakta can relate to that shloka, but a logical mind will say, come on, what are you saying? So is this badhita part clear? Everyone? Karta, Bhokta, Badhita. Okay. Please, can you please show us the shlokas? The
Sure.
9th shloka especially.
Ninth sloka.
Yeah, it is all in the series. The last
Yeah. So, but
one.
which one is okay? Which number is?
The next one. Okay. Anyway, we will. These ones we have already seen. Next.
Yeah.
Okay. Let us go with this quickly. So, so Arjuna had that doubt. So Bhagavan was summing up. Lord Krishna was summing up, and he said, "This knowledge, what I have already said, up to the 3rd chapter." He didn't say the word 3rd chapter. This I am adding. So this has been told long back by me to the sun god, and through sun god, gradually it came to you. So obviously Arjuna asked this question: how can you say you gave this knowledge to the sun god? Because you are my contemporary. You were born just a few years before me. So how can you give this knowledge to sun god? Then Lord Krishna says that both of us came into on this earth many a times, but you don't remember them, and I remember all of them. And why? Because of the same reason which we will be discussing. Okay, I take birth due to my special powers and not because of my karmic cycle. So I'm free from karma, but through my special powers, I take birth. Next shlokas, please. For some special purpose. So what is that special purpose? Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyuthanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. So whenever the righteousness, the level of righteousness falls in this, on this earth, then to bring it back to a certain level, I take birth on this earth, and for the protection of virtuous people and for the destruction of evildoers. Okay, so up to that is easy to understand. Now comes a spanner, a difficult shloka. Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo vetti tattvataha tyaktva deham punar janma neti mameti sorjuna. Anyone who understands my divine birth and this life in essence, then that person, after leaving this body, doesn't come back. Means one is free from the karmic cycle. Now, this is something very difficult to digest. Okay, Lord Krishna is a special person. Due to special powers, took a special form, did some miraculous actions, and then went away. So knowing that, how will I get free from my karma? What is the connection? Okay. Now the connection is here. The divine birth and the life of Lord Krishna is because of his complete sense of non-doership or a badhita doership. He is untouched by what he does. He's not identified himself as a doer, and therefore never any karma accrues to him. Whatever he did was as if this whole universal force came in a particular form, performed some action, and then went away. So there was no sense of doership in that form. And of course, when we say doership, it includes enjoyership. So a form which is free from doership and enjoyership, performing various activities, coming and going, remains unaffected by the actions performed in between. Once a person understands this part, the person gets freed. Why? How? The person gets freed because he or she knows that even if I perform the action with a badhita doership, badhita means falsified doership, not a real doership, and with a falsified enjoyership, then I am also not affected by this karmic cycle. And in that way, I am no different from the Lord. Lord is free from karmic cycle. I am also free from karmic cycle. And one becomes free from the cycle of birth and death. So this is how, by understanding the Lord's life, in essence, one gets free from that cycle of karma, cycle of birth and death. And even if one is not interested in getting out of the cycle of birth and death, definitely one is interested in coming out of those shocks of life, the shocks of intense pleasure and the shock of intense pain. And they keep coming, and this fellow keeps bouncing. Sometimes this, sometimes up, sometimes down. And there is no evenness. The sense of balance is not there. And the sense of stability is not there. Always perturbed, disturbed. So one becomes free from that. Is it clear? Let me see the faces. Can you stop this screen sharing, please? How do you do that? Yeah. Okay. Is that shloka very clear to everyone?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I didn't share the next shlokas. I think today I forgot, but
I don't have
just
it.
quickly mention them. Just a second. Yeah, you don't have it. I know that.
Mhm.
Sorry, just a second. Yeah, this all set of shlokas are covered in this Badhita doership. Okay. Then in between, Okay. Then this chapter, we will see the shlokas in detail next time, but I'll introduce the topic. The concept of yajna is discussed in depth and in width, very broadly. What is a yajna? So, what is your concept of yajna? Let me hear from you people. What is a yajna? Yajna. We pronounce it yajna. Come on, please. Could be a
Performing
new
austerities.
new word to you.
Performing austerities.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That could be. Okay. Let me hear more. Pardon? Can you please repeat?
Offering our actions.
Sacrifice. Yes. Offering our actions to the Lord. Fine. Okay.
Yajna bhavana.
Now, yajna. Yes, please. Yeah, homam, havan, whatever you call that fire ritual. Well, yajna is comes from the root yaj. Yaj means to worship. Okay, so basically it's a form of worship. Now here in this chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, this worship or this yajna, worshipping the Lord, offering to the Lord, with the sense of reverence and as a sacrifice, and it also includes all austerities, everything. It can be done in various forms. It need not be only a fire ritual. Fire ritual is definitely a yajna. Nobody denies that. But there are various other forms of yajna one can perform and get the benefit out of it. So what are the different forms of yajna that are mentioned in this chapter? I'll describe a few. Okay. So, Devameva pare yajnam yoginah paryupasate brahmagnava pare yajnam yajne nevopajuhvati. So other yogis duly offer sacrifice only in the shape of worship to the gods, the devas, not gods, devas. Let us use the word devas. While others perform sacrifice by offering the self itself in the fire of Brahman. So different forms of sacrifice. Even thinking what that vision of being separate, divided, removing that vision and bringing the vision of oneness, that everything is connected. It's so from a vision of being disconnected to deliberately bringing in the vision of being connected deliberately, that also is one kind of yajna. So an open eye meditation. What is my orientation? I am different. You are different. These articles are different. Everything is different. They are disconnected. There is no direct connection. But bringing in a sense of connection, that everything is connected because everything comes from the same origin. And in that sense, they are all connected. So this bringing in this vision again and again, practicing this also is one form of yajna. Then what it says, Shrotradini Indriyani Anye Sanyama Agnishu Juhvati. So in the Agni of Sanyama, Sanyama means restraint. Okay. So, Shrotra Dini Indriyani, the different sense organs, one offers in the fire of restraint. What does it mean? Restraining the sense organs. If one deliberately restrains sense organs from the sense objects and limits their activities with a purpose, even that is considered as a yajna. Okay. Shabdadin Vishayani Anye Indriya Agnishu Jufati. This is a very interesting thing. Offering the sense objects to the sense organs is also a kind of yajna. Well, that we are doing every day. Everybody does it. No. In a controlled way, in a proper way, in keeping with dharma. So what does it mean? Enjoying things, enjoying the sense objects, the sense organs, enjoying the sense objects in a disciplined way, in a controlled way, with a purpose, is also a kind of yajna. So you see how broad yajna is. So all the austerities, what you were saying, no, that definitely austerity is also kind of yajna. Then sarvani indriya karmani prana karmani chapare atma sanyama yogagnav jufvati jnana deepite. Others sacrifice all the functions of their senses and functions of the pranas into the fire of yoga in the shape of self-control kindled by wisdom. So, the same thing. All the austerities which are prescribed done in a proper way with a purpose of self-growth, of increasing the willpower, self-restraint, self-control, all of them are also as good as yajna. So various types of yajna, later on we will see, even the breathing exercise, okay, the pranayama, even that is considered a yajna, provided it is done in the sense of offering to the Lord. So one need not have the means or resources to perform a fire ritual, and yet one can be performing a yajna and getting the same benefits which a fire ritual can give. So this is how we see in this chapter such a wide description of the word yajna. So with this, I think I will stop here. And if you have any questions, I'll take it up and then we'll continue next time. Yes. Any question? Anything?
I have a question. Yeah.
Please.
Going back, the concept that you're describing earlier, I'm thinking of it in terms of Western psychology would describe it possibly as depersonalization. And in Western psychology, that would be that carries a negative connotation. And so I'm wondering, is there a reconciliation or an explanation that takes into account both of these systems?
Yeah, I tell you what. Yeah, I got your point. Depersonalization has a connotation of being disconnected. Okay. And being disconnected somewhat helplessly. Because coming under the influence of something. Are you hearing me? Hello? Is my voice reaching you?
It's cutting in and out.
Keep your microphone on.
Okay.
Okay. So depersonalization has a little negative connotation because it is linked with disconnection between me as a person and me as a doer. And it's happening like somewhat helplessly. Not that I choose to do it, but it just happens. Here it is happening not out of helplessness, but out of understanding. You got my point?
Mm.
So because of that understanding, something just strikes within me. And really speaking, I need not do it, just automatically happens. And it doesn't affect the actual performance. What it does is, there is just internal change. Externally, nothing changes. The person plays the role even maybe even more sincerely and more with vigor, with dedication, knowing that it's just a role. You got my point? Hello?
Yep.
Yeah. So this is how it is. And again, there is one more thing. I have to use the word toggling. Toggling, you understand? Toggle this way, that way. So one has the freedom of toggling. One can be a real doer for a moment, and then with understanding, not out of helplessness, one toggles and says, no, I'm not a doer. It is like playing a game with your toddler kid, and just behaving like a toddler in front of the kid. Correct? You play a role. You sometimes you win deliberately, or sometimes you deliberately lose so that the kid wins. And you make your faces, all the expressions of winning or losing or whatever. Correct? So in a given moment, you are that kid, or as good as that kid. And yet, because of that inner awareness, you can toggle from being a kid to being an adult. You are in your control. It's not that you are helpless. Helplessly, either you are a kid and then sometimes again you become adult, and that toggling is not in your control. So that is the beauty of Badhita. The other one is some kind of helplessness. One goes into one role, then is not able to come out of it, is get stuck, or doesn't take up the role, doesn't do anything, no responsibility. So difficult to handle. Okay.
Yep. Thank you.
I hope I clarified. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you are the master here because of your understanding. And that is the only way to come out of this karma and the effects of karma and all this. That only insulates one from the pleasure and pain of this world. There is just no other way. All other ways are temporary. This one is something which holds on. Any other question from anyone? Okay, then we stop with a Shanti mantra. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.